What's going on YouTube? My name is Marcus, aka Apostle, and today I am bringing you 5 more mistakes that you're making in Spellbreak. If you haven't seen my other 5 mistakes video, it's at the point of the time that I'm recording this. It's my biggest video on my channel, so if you're looking for more Spellbreak tips, that's another good one to check out. People seem to love it, and so that's why I'm here making another one. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this one as much as you enjoyed the first. If you do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check out the Twitch stream down in the description below. I'm live basically every day from 12 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm usually playing Spellbreak. So if you have any more questions or just want to come by and say what's up, you can come chill in the stream. Anyways, let's start fixing those mistakes. These are all important, but I tried to put them in order from less important to most important, so we're going to start at number 5. At number 5, we have being too reliant on your primary gauntlet. I recommend finding a gauntlet in class that you like and getting the hang of that one element before moving on, but what I see a lot of people doing is just only using their class's element. Stone Shapers are the main offender of this, but it really happens with any class. The reason that being too reliant on one gauntlet is bad is that gauntlets are limited to what ranges they're useful at. So if you're not playing at the optimal range that your gauntlet is good at, then you're basically just playing at a disadvantage. Stone is especially bad because it doesn't climb surfaces, so it's completely useless in some situations. What I recommend doing is getting good with one close range gauntlet and one long range gauntlet, so that way no matter what range you're at, you can have something that you're useful with. This is also going to allow you to have an easier time on deciding which gauntlet to use in the situation that you're in. For instance, if you're using Toxic and Fire, they both are closer range gauntlets, so they have an overlap of where they're both useful. This is going to make it difficult to tell when you should be using the Fire Gauntlet and when you should be using the Toxic Gauntlet. However, if you're using Toxic and Frost Gauntlets, you know that in close range fights, you want to be more reliant on your Toxic Gauntlet, and once you get to medium and long ranges, you want to switch over to using your Frost. Overall, your goal should be to get good with every gauntlet, but pick 2 or 3 and get good with those first. In our number 4 position, we have not using potions in fights. Not every fight has to be purely attacking and defending until death. What you can do in the middle of a fight is create a little bit of distance or break line of sight and pop off some small potions if you have time to. Once you get good at breaking line of sight effectively, you can usually peek around a corner and keep an eye on your opponent while you're healing so you know when you're in danger and when you're not in danger. This is going to be able to give you a judge of which potion you should be popping or if you should be popping potions at all. If your opponent is actively pushing you really hard, you may not be able to get any potions off, but you may be able to catch them as they come around the corner with an attack of your own. Or if you see that the opponent has actually lost you or is taking a while to get over to you, you could pop some bigger potions and essentially just reset your entire health before they even get to you. If you're going to be popping potions in fights, you want to try to be the first person to start popping potions. This is going to allow you to get more potions off before your enemy does if you both decide to heal. Essentially, what you can do is once you heal enough to where you feel comfortable, you can push your opponent if you see that they're healing and prevent them from getting off their last potion. This is going to give you a big health advantage and possibly allow you to get off a free shot on them as well. Keep in mind if you're trying to hit an opponent that's trying to pot up in fights that you can use your sorceries to hit people around corners, firewalls, tornadoes, stuff like that. It does AoE damage, so you don't have to hit the person directly to end up hurting them. If you take any damage while you're taking a potion, it's going to cancel your heal. And if you happen to hit them with a firewall, it's going to ignite your opponent and prevent them from healing for a couple more seconds after that initial tick. Learning how to manage healing while fighting is really going to take your gameplay up to the next level. Our third mistake that we're going to go into is not using your class's movement skills. While you're in combat, you're basically going to be using abilities to either attack or defend. If you want to do either of these effectively, you're going to be relying heavily on your movement. If you're on the offensive, you're usually going to have to either close the distance on somebody or maintain line of sight as they're trying to run away. But if you're on the defensive, you're going to need a well-placed sorcery or a quick movement to dodge that incoming damage. Runes can be useful for dodging, but if you're relying purely on rune usage, you're severely limiting your abilities. This is going to be where your movement skill comes in. Utilizing movement skills such as Vanishing Mists, Firefly, and Updraft can make you incredibly effective at offense and defense. You're going to be able to use these to close distance, escape fights, and maneuver incredibly unpredictably, which, looking back at our last tip, if you get smart with these, you're going to be able to get more potions off in fights. One of the best things about movement skills is that you can reuse your sorceries, activating your skills multiple times. What you want to be aware of if you're using or reusing your sorceries is that your opponents aren't going to combine your sorcery with their own abilities. A big mistake I see is people throwing down their toxic clouds too close to flame puddles, or while a fireball is coming in and they just throw it on the ground and it immediately dragon fires themselves, and then they don't get their movement ability at all, and they're at a health disadvantage now. So you want to be aware of your surroundings while you're using this. Alacrity trails can be extremely effective for quick bursts of movement, and what's great about it is that they don't use cooldowns. Combining your alacrity trail with sorcery canceling can up your frost game significantly. If you don't know how to sorcery cancel, I have a guide you can check out down in the description below. As a Frostborn main, sorcery canceling is one of my favorite things to do. Coming in for our number 2 mistake, we have burning all of your cooldowns. Cooldowns are incredibly important during a fight. Between using your runes and your sorceries, you can give yourself a huge advantage in the fight. The problem is that if you waste your charge and your opponent doesn't, then you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. If you blow all of your cooldowns in a fight or while approaching a fight, you'll be essentially useless until they come back up. I'd say the worst of these two situations is burning all of your cooldowns while approaching a fight. The reason you want to be aware not to burn all of your cooldowns approaching a fight is because you're using all of your resources just to get to your opponent. This means that once you get to your opponent, they're going to have all of their cooldowns while you're going to have none. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't use any of your cooldowns to approach opponents, but you want to be smart to make sure that once you get to your opponent that you're going to be able to fight them effectively. If you are in a fight and end up burning all of your cooldowns, it actually isn't so bad because your opponent will be burning them as well. Just keep in mind that distancing yourself from the fight for a second or two while waiting for a cooldown can help you win the fight in the end. It's usually a good rule of thumb to keep one cooldown up to allow you to dodge or block when you need to. If you know you're going to be able to finish your opponent by using all of your cooldowns, you can do that, but just be aware of third parties. The number 1 mistake that I see players making is worrying too much about aim. A question that I get basically every single stream is, how do I get better at aiming? What I usually tell them is not to worry about aiming so much. Instead, I'll tell them to focus on their movement and their positioning. In Spellbreak, if you can move correctly and keep people in your gauntlet's most effective range, you'll have a much easier time hitting your shots. You can also get people to chase you through windows and doorways, so that way you'll know exactly where they will be and you can pre-fire that area. As for positioning, if you can take high ground or a spot that benefits you in a fight, it'll give you a huge advantage. An example of this is that if you're using stone, you want to fight in an open area like a field. Like I mentioned earlier, stone can't climb things well, so if you're in a very closed off area, people just have to stand on some objects and then your stone will be useless. This is something you want to take in mind while you're approaching an opponent too. If you see somebody's using a stone gauntlet, don't push them into an open field because then they're going to have the advantage. Keep in mind that not only does positioning yourself to your strengths help, but also position your opponents to where they will be weakest. In Battle Royale, positioning becomes more and more important the later in the game it gets. In Dominion, you're going to be doing a lot more fighting, so you have a lot less time to think of your positioning, but you want to try to keep it in mind as much as possible. In the final zones of Battle Royale, there are going to be usually 1 or 2 spots that are power positions. Try to take these spots and defend them in the final zones unless there's too much attention being drawn to them. If you get to a spot first, you can defend them and try to push the opponents into each other, or if you're getting pushed by multiple opponents, you can give up the position and make them fight each other over that power position. If you make sure that you're not the focus of a fight, you're going to be able to hit your shots easier because your opponent's not going to be actively dodging what you're throwing at them. Sometimes your best option is not to move at all. If you can get behind a box and you see your opponent coming, you're going to have a really easy shot once they get close to you. I do have guides on both aiming and movement that I'm going to throw in the description. Be sure to check these out if you're looking to get better at Spellbreak. Also, again, feel free to check out the live stream down in the description below. Both myself and my chat are willing to answer any questions that you come in and ask. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to go above and beyond in supporting me and you're on the Epic launcher, you can use my creator code APOSTLE. You can throw this in the promo code section while you're buying coins or packs out of the store. I would really appreciate if you guys do that. Anyways, my name is Marcus, aka Apostle. Thanks for watching.